Hi, my name is Barry, and this is Bible for Beginners, parts 1 through 7. Part 1, we're going to be looking at an overview of the Bible. After the overview, we'll look at our time within infinity, because obviously we're mortal and we live in an infinite space. We're going to be looking how time is divided for us in the Bible into 7 times. We're going to look at 2 specific creations. We're going to look at the heavens and the earth. So looking at my pointer here, you can see we've got in this Bible, which is the Greek word from biblos, which means library. You can see we have a library of books here. And the first part of the Bible is called the law, or the Torah. And we can see there's Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Then we have the history books over here. There are 12 history books: Joshua, Judges, Ruth, Samuel, 1st and 2nd of Kings, 1st and 2nd of Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, and Esther. We then come to the books of poetry or wisdom: Job, Psalms, Proverbs, and Ecclesiastes, Songs of Solomon. We've got the major prophets, of which there are 4: Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and Daniel. Lamentations is an extension of Jeremiah. We then have the 12 prophets. They are Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, and finally Malachi. So this section over here that we've just looked at is the Old Testament. We come then to the Gospels. We've got Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And then we've got the Acts of the Apostles up there. This is now the New Testament. We've then got Paul's letters, which is Romans, 1st and 2nd of Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, 1st and 2nd of Thessalonians, 1st and 2nd of Timothy, Titus, Philemon. We then have general letters, which is the book of Hebrews, James, 1st and 2nd of Peter, 1st, 2nd, 3rd of John, Jude, and finally Revelation. So here we've got these books here in the New Testament and these books on this side, the Old Testament, and together they form the Bible as we know it. So let's look at our time within infinity. The blue line that you see coming across the screen now will represent for us time. So that represents infinity. It has no beginning and no end. But now we look at our little spot there, the little blue spot right in the middle. And I'll just highlight it with my cursor there. You can see there, it's a finite space within infinity. We are finite and we live in an infinite space. God is eternal. He has no beginning and no end. But we live in mortal bodies. All of us are conceived. We go through a gestation period. We're born, we live, we die. We have beginnings and endings. That's what being finite is all about, being mortal. So we have a beginning. Wherever that beginning is, there it is on the left-hand side of the screen, and I'll just put my cursor there in the beginning, and we have a man by the name of Adam, and we can see it's recorded for us in Genesis. We have now on the other side of the screen, we have an end, and that is Revelation chapter 22. And as we look at the way time is divided for us in the Bible, there are 7 epochs of time of 7 millennia. So from Adam through to Revelation 22, at the end there, 7,000 years of time. That's what's recorded for us in the Bible. What happens outside of that time is unknown to us, and for the most part we'll just be guessing. But that's the time that the Bible actually deals with. So there are a couple of names that I'll just put on the screen for us. You can see right in the middle there, we have Jesus. And from Adam to Jesus is 1, 2, 3, 4,000 years. 4,000 years from Adam to Jesus. Here we have a couple of other important people. Noah at approximately 1,500 years from Adam. And then we've got Abraham, approximately 2,000 years from Adam. Moses at about 2,500 from Adam. David, about 3,000 years from Adam. Then we've got Malachi, 3,500, and then finally Jesus over here. And of course, this is where we sit at the moment. We're sitting 2,000 years from Jesus, approximately 2,000 years. So that's what makes up the Old Testament, this red section over here. This is the writing of the Old Testament. So Moses writes the 5 books of the law, and Moses is writing about Adam, he's writing about Noah and Abraham. He lives after them. So it's by divine revelation that Moses records this space over here. So this is the actual recording in red. This is the recording of the Old Testament from Moses through to Malachi. Then we have the time between the testaments, which is almost silent. In fact, it's silent from a biblical point of view. We have other books that are written in this particular space, but for now we don't really need to bother ourselves too much about that. And then we've got the New Testament, which is this little section over here, which is when the New Testament was written. So I've put another 2 markers on here because now we're going to look at the way time also works, because if you're going from Jesus backwards, we're looking at 1000 BC, 2000 BC, 3000 BC, 4000 BC. If we're going forwards from Jesus, it's 1000 AD, 2000 AD, 3000 AD. When we look at this section down here, we're looking at from Genesis 1 to Genesis 11, you've got 2,000 years of history recorded there. So it's very compressed and it's very concentrated. When we look at from Abraham through to Malachi, that's this rest of the Old Testament. You can see we've got 1,500 years just in that space. And that makes up for the rest of the Old Testament. When we look at this little section of the New Testament, you can see it's a very, very small space in relationship to all the time that we're considering when we look at the 7,000 years of time. So in the Old Testament, we've got 39 books, and in the New Testament, we've got 27 books. The Old Testament books written in Hebrew, New Testament books written in Greek. Now, the first part of creation from Genesis chapter 1 through to Noah, the concentration or the focus of the beginning of the Bible is focused on one man, which is Adam and his descendants. Then from Noah onwards, the focus now changes from one man to one nation, which is Israel. Israel is the focus of God's attention now from Noah through to the end of the New Testament. When we come to the New Testament now, we focus on one man, which is Jesus. And we're going to now focus on not one nation, but many nations. So the gospel now goes to many nations. Whereas before it was restricted to the Jews and the Israelites, now it is for all nations, for every nation, kindred, and tongue. And then finally we come to the 7th millennium, or the 7th day of God's rest, which we see here in the 7th millennium. So we read in 1 Corinthians 15 and at verse 45, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a life-giving spirit. So we can see that as far as the Bible is concerned, we have a first man, Adam, right in the beginning, and Jesus is known as the last Adam, and he was made a life-giving spirit. So when we come to looking at the Bible, we see that sometimes the language is natural, but sometimes it is figurative. Now in Isaiah chapter 1 and at verse 2, we read these words, "Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth." And then Isaiah chapter 1 and at verse 10, "Hear the word of the Lord, you rulers of Sodom, give ear unto the law of our God, you people of Gomorrah." Now this is important to understand that sometimes language is figurative. And in this particular case, the heavens represent the rulers of Sodom, and the earth represents the people of Gomorrah. And I've highlighted it for you in red down here. Heavens represent rulers earth represents people. So, we have the first heavens and first earth, which is recorded from Adam to Noah. So the first heavens and first earth was destroyed by water. We now come to the second heavens and the second earth, which is recorded from Noah up to where we are at the moment. And we look forward to a new heavens and a new earth, which is the millennium, or the time when Jesus rules on the earth. So in 2 Peter 2 verses 5, 8 and 13, by the word of God the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished. But the heavens and earth which are now, by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire, against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. But, beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for a new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwells righteousness. And so there ends the first lesson, and we just pray for God's blessing to be upon us as we have considered the first of these 7 lessons.